Hi everyone, welcome back to SGDA Student Games Showcase. I believe this is Section D. This is Jason again, SGDA present. Magna, if you could introduce yourself and the team here.
Hi guys, I'm Megna. I'm the marketing lead back for the showcase section, and today and this game that this lovely team is presenting is Bootsies. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, I can't really see anyone right now because of the parsec, but
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Joseph Gill.
Hey, my name is Juan Carlo Rabanal.
My name is Alex Gattuso.
And we are part of the team developing Bootsies.
Awesome, cool. Do you guys want to give like a quick summary of what the game is about as Jason will play it?
Yeah. So Bootsies is a one-dimensional fighting game. That means that you only really play on your x-axis, moving both forward and back. There's not really even a jump command, which makes it unique. And the primary goal of Bootsies is to be able to teach players how the basic fundamentals of a fighting game, as well as making a good fighting game that also has competitive edge to it.
Awesome. And how did the idea get started? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to select things. Sorry.
No worries.
If you're on a keyboard player one, WASD should be able to navigate here and then space to.
Got it. Jason, I think my thing is not enabled again. Oh, got it. Okay.
Kyle, do you want to go and talk about how Bootsies got started?
Yeah, so Bootsies got started. If you're familiar with the game Dive Kick, which is a sort of minimalist or reductionist fighting game where all the actions are reduced to like variations of diving and kicking, we first started to think about if we could reduce these further from dive kick to just kick. And from that point, we started to expand on the concept and try to really zoom in on what makes that so compelling on its own. And by building on one thing after another, we ended up with Bootsies where it is today.
Awesome. How did you develop the art style behind Bootsies? Because obviously it's a mixture of 2D and 3D.
Right. So for the 2D elements that I can speak on, they're more mostly because of my own limitations in like art skill. I just wanted to draw a few little fellows that could move and do cool action moves without breaking my wrist. But Alex can talk about the 3D parts of it.
Excuse me. The 3D parts were heavily inspired, obviously, by retro, like PS1, PS2 style graphics. The main inspiration, I would say, is a game known as CBS2 versus SNK2. It had a very similar style, mix of sprites. But yeah, I just really wanted to go for that retro look, so I tried to emulate like different techniques, like vertex lighting, which is like the old way of doing lighting. That's like not with pixels, but with the vertex instead. Stuff like that. To make the textures limited and all that stuff, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. So that's where that came from.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm gonna like try and lower the volume real quick, but in terms of like the development of the game, what was something that, I guess, like, how different is the game from the initial iterations till now, where it's like pretty polished overall now?
Well, we're honestly still in the halfway point of development. We feel like we've gotten a good grasp on the versus aspect, where before it was very narrow. We only had one or two attacks at most, and we started building on like what do we want the players to learn as they play this game, which is how we got like multi-button attacks such as the walk back plus light or medium kick mechanic. We have our bet mechanic, the super, all of this, where we want players to work on their execution as well as their decision making. So that opened up the option for more ideas. And then later on, we started this thing such as like the parry mechanics in this game, the super mechanics, the point system for off staging. This idea where we're constantly expanding what we want the people to learn with this game, as well as just making a game that has more competitive aspects to it, like more things to think about. So right now, we feel very happy with how the versus aspect of this game is coming through, which we're gonna start segueing into the single player roguelike aspect of development this summer before our release in the fall.
Awesome. Can you tell me a bit more about that single player roguelike aspect of it?
Yeah, so a lot of those details are still heavy in development, but the main sort of idea of it is you want to try and have the player emulate the kind of journey you would go undertake as a person in the real fighting game community, going from winning your locals, making friends, making contacts, making rivals, working way up to winning the world championship. So fighting stronger and stronger opponents, learning stuff along the way, making friends, making rivals, and all the variables that involve.
Excited to see that develop. Because so far it's really fun. Just button mashing.
That's part of the experience that we wanted to cook in, because right now both of you guys are like pressing your buttons trying to figure out what works with what. You're learning the mechanics as you go, and then hopefully especially with the single player or the arcade mode, once you have a feel for the buttons themselves, you can start applying more advanced concepts such as when to use them, spacing, managing your resources, all of that. And that's kind of the progression we want from people playing our game, to be able to go into other fighting games knowing these general concepts. Because one of the scariest things about the fighting game genre is that you'll always lose, but hopefully those losses teach you things. So it's that idea that we want people to learn that they can learn by playing these games.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely like kind of the magnum opus of the fighting game community is that you'll always lose, but you'll be having fun doing it, or like learning more what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the most developed, or I guess like the most difficult part of development when it came to creating Bootsies?
I think one of the parts of success is trying to get all the elements to work together nicely, such that there's no like redundancy in the options, and that the player has to constantly make important decisions all the time, and that players always feel like they have options or things they can do, and no one feels too boxed into a corner. But Alex can talk about the network aspect of things.
Yeah, so for me, the most difficult part has been working on including rollback next coding to this game, which is nowadays definitely a necessity for finding games, because it frees up when you're not close to the other graphically. But yeah, no, that's just been very difficult, but it's been a huge learning experience as well. Because, as a fighting game player, I thought I kind of understood rollback on a high level, which basically is just called that because it will try to predict your input, and then if it realizes when the real input comes in that it got it wrong, it'll roll back and then re-simulate the game. So that's where the name comes from.
Got it.
So I thought I understood that, but of course it turns out that the technical details are a lot more involved. So that's been both a humbling but a really good learning experience. But yeah, that's been the most difficult part for myself.
Gotcha. Technical aspects will always get to you.
Yeah.
And regardless of like the type of game as well. In terms of like development, I know you mentioned that up next will probably be the single player roguelike, but anything else that you're thinking of in terms of your active development?
No, those are the major points, like, a fleshed out competitive mode and the single player journey for those that want to go back and forth or that are only interested in single player. We want to try and avoid scope creep as much as possible and have like some solid things to deliver on both those main fronts. Have some unlockables and cosmetics, sure, but it should all be as you hear it being told here.
Great, awesome. I think Jason mentioned we have about 5 minutes. Oh, I'm echoing. We have about 5 minutes left. So in terms of, I think we'll probably go through a couple more questions before we end your section. But in terms of like, obviously you guys mentioned a lot about like the fighting game genre. So it seems like you're very big fans of it. I guess what is your favorite aspect of developing a fighting game?
I think for me, one of the best aspects of developing a fighting game is how engaged they are with the community. where one of the biggest things is you are making this game for the players, so the players have this direct contact with us, the developers, in order to make this game as best as they can. Like, we have a feedback channel in our development server and our public server as well. And then we also have these fighting game events that we go to, constantly taking new builds of the game and constantly learning, like, what are the things that make a fighting game fun for people? What are the things that we should polish up in terms of like teaching players? And then just the overall reactions we get to this game as well being overwhelmingly positive, because it's a new game that people can play and they're having fun with such a simple game that ends up having so much more under it once you understand it. So being able to listen to the community at large has been one of the best parts of the development for us.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely. Of like from what I've heard, because I'm not as big into the fighting game community as some of my friends are, but it's one of the most, I think, like the community comes together so well to also help support old and new projects overall. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we're coming up on time. So as for the last question, is there anyone that you want to shout out or I get my shout out on stream or anything you want to say prior to ending the section?
Yeah, shout outs to the other two people on our team, Lourdes, who's doing the art, NBB or Nathan, who's also doing some background concept art. They couldn't join us today, unfortunately, but shout outs to them. Also, our game Bootsies is now on Steam, available to wishlist. Go give it a try over on our Discord server. There's a link where you can download the demo and give it a chance yourself. Both the single player arcade and local versus, and also versus over Parsec are all available. Yeah.
And then just one real quick, just a shout out to the University of California Irvine and University of California Los Angeles fighting game communities. They've been a major help with the initial steps of development for this game, and that's where everyone in our development team comes from, where we just kind of united within those two groups and wanted to make a fighting game to help people ease in, especially coming into like college or just your local scene. So they've been a big inspiration, and they're what's keeping us going forward.
Awesome. Okay, guys, thank you so much, and definitely we'll leave the links within our own Steam or Summit Discord, so that way you can play the Bootsies demo as well as wishlist it on Steam. Thank you guys so much for coming out. The game was super fun. Obviously, I was kind of like too locked into trying to beat Jason. So
No, that's good.
Fine.
That's good. That's what we want from people.
Well, awesome. Yeah, thank you guys so much. And then up next, I believe, is Ordinary Farm. So we'll be back in a couple minutes.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thank you.
you. Have a
Thanks
nice
so much.
day.
You too.